So I have like basically a tale, but it's more something that I like to reflect on and be like, this is the person that you are.
Okay, about yourself?
About myself.
Okay.
Because, you know, when you're just kind of like, how far do I go? And then it turns out you'll go very far.
Right.
So I was in a conference before, in one of my previous jobs. I won't give too much away about it, but we had this task. We had to basically like draw a picture of where we'd like the company to be and like what our ideals are. And like at this point, I think I'd given my notice in. Yeah, I think I'd given my notice in.
Oh God, I can only imagine where this is going.
And we were split into teams, and I'll never forget it because I had my mate Yvonne on the team, and one of the other girls, Shiva, she just didn't care. She just was so checked out. She was on her phone the whole time. She just wasn't arsed. And then this really like awkward lad who worked with us as well. And I was just started sketching. And no one was paying attention to what I was doing. So I was just drawing this picture for the group. And they let me present it. And I basically drew like us all in a bin. And I was like, so basically, I want us to be out of the bin. And currently, the company's in the bin. So I think if we could just make all the money, we could just get out of the bin, really, to be honest. And I presented this to, I'm talking like brand manager, like I'm talking corporate. I presented this picture.
Oh my, and what was the reaction?
They loved it.
Not surprised, not one bit surprised. And you're very welcome along to the Unpopular Opinion podcast. My name is Jen. Sorry, I'm laughing here because we actually do a bop.
We dance every time.
Yeah.
And I'm Carla. And I'm a dancer. I'm a dancer.
And we dance.
And we dance to our own tune. We're so positive. We're so positive. We're just positive girls.
The enthusiasm in this sitting room is
fucking
it's like
through the roof.
Palpable.
Cat's getting excited right now.
Like seriously, she's after waking up from her nap.
Yeah.
This week we are talking about political correctness. I think there's actually, like, it's gone so mad, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's the same with most things nowadays. I think people that are just so much more aware, and everybody has access to the internet.
Yep.
Well, most people do anyway. And therefore everybody has, you know, lovely opinions that sometimes they don't really think. They just shoot out there.
Exactly.
And I think that's where we're going with that one.
Yeah. Do you think it's a step in the right direction, or do you think it's going a bit too far?
I think people can be offended whatever the fuck they want to be offended. And it's just more about how you yourself control your reaction more than anything else. Because there are certain people, like, I can't remember the phrase, but it's like, you know, it's like don't fight with a wall kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or like, if anybody can remember the phrase, just text it to me. But there's like one of those phrases, isn't it? It's like, don't argue with a donkey because you're arguing with a donkey, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we need to be. I think awareness is key to kind of understanding and everything. But I do feel like in this day and age, you can get offended. You could get offended by anything.
Do you think it's ruining, like, for lack of a better phrase, do you think it's ruining the absolute crack because you can't say anything anymore without somebody? Like, you could, I believe that with political correctness, it all comes down to context. So, like, in terms of somebody making a joke on, or making a lighthearted situation out of maybe a very serious, like, for instance, if somebody made a joke about, and this happens all the time actually, and you see it in films and everything. Say if somebody made a joke about the Holocaust, right?
Yeah.
Say for instance, you know that there's no malice in that.
Yeah.
You know that they don't mean any harm. Of course, the person saying the joke knows knows the severity of the Holocaust.
Yeah.
But they're after thinking of something witty got to do with it. What do you think of stuff like that?
I don't, like, obviously a lot of comedians, that's their whole gig, isn't it? That's their whole spiel, that's their whole stick up. But people put themselves in that position to go and see that. And I think that there's a lot of ignorance and people can kind of pass it off as a joke, and it's like there is a time and place for everything.
Exactly, that's the way I think as well. Yeah,
like there is just literally a time and place for everything, and you can't just be like, oh, get over it, when you're just being fucking offensive. You know?
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, there's two sides to every story, and that's why we're here.
Exactly.
Here to debate that.
Exactly.
You guys.
I would think it's funny because some of my views have changed in the last year, and I would have been very much shut up, you're taking it too far, like stop getting offended for other people, stop that, just stop, get in the sea, stop. But like you say, more awareness and more kind of, I suppose, empathy for the people who are getting offended, and kind of exploring where they're coming from that bit more has changed my views so much in like the last year. It's crazy, because I would have been very like, stop that now, stop, you're just getting ridiculous. But now I'm like, no, actually they have a point. And I'm not being, it's such a widely used term now, a snowflake. I'm not being one of those, and I'm not sticking up for every single person who has a fucking agenda, because of course I'm very aware of the context that some stuff is said in. Like, I don't nitpick, do you know what I mean? I know if somebody's telling a joke, they're not trying to be malicious, but I am starting to become a bit more, which probably would wreck somebody's head. You know, if they were really like, no, stop, you're taking it too far, I would probably wreck somebody's head now, because I am kind of like, no, hang on. Because like you said, there is a time and a place for stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah,
no, definitely. I think Twitter has really opened my eyes.
Right.
I get a lot of really good kind of information, and I see a lot of sides to stories, especially because like I'm so nosy. I'll click into the thread and read all of it. And I think that a lot of things have kind of came up that have really opened my eyes that I didn't know. Not so much I didn't know what I was doing, but I didn't know how harmful like little things can be to communities.
Right.
You know? And I think I think it's great. First of all, I think it's great when people can just turn around and be like, whoop, didn't know that before.
I love that. I love when somebody says, I actually love seeing somebody learn from something. As opposed to, shut up, I was just saying this and I was just, and get going on the defensive. I actually love when somebody can go, sorry lads, I shit the bed, I didn't actually know that. Do you know, I prefer to see that. I prefer to see that human side to somebody. Whereas if somebody does something wrong and then they just purely go on the defensive, I can't stand it. It's like, seriously, just fucking admit you are wrong.
Yeah, you're like, shut the fuck up. Yeah, I totally get you. And I think that's why we had such a massive reaction on the Instagram on the Instagram page, on the Insta to kind of basically, if you think nowadays has this whole PC world gone too far. Yeah,
so I did a poll on the Instagram before recording, and 88% of people said they thought it was going too far. So basically the poll was, do you think it's a step in the right direction, or do you think it's gone too far? And 88% of people said that they think it's gone too far. Well, I also put up, if people wanted to elaborate on their answer, I put up the old box, the box on the Insta, and I have a few little pointers here. There's actually a lot of Ashlings that answered. One Aishling said, everyone loves being offended by something. That's it in a nutshell. People love the drama of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think life's gotten kind of mundane for most people, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. So they kind of create their own world. Yeah. But you could be offended by anything.
Yeah, you really could.
You really could. Like, you could get into it and you could actually be offended by anything, like specific examples. But again, I'm not going to sit here and be like, that's totally fine if you're going to be ignorant about, a specific group. I actually have the definition here of political correctness. And it's, what does it mean when somebody says politically correct? And they say, on the Googles, if you say that someone is politically correct, you mean that they are extremely careful not to offend or upset any group of people in a society who have a disadvantage or who have been treated differently because of their sex, race or disability. The abbreviation PC is also used. So I think that kind of sums everything up. But it also kind of gives it kind of categories and groups.
Yeah, it really narrows it down.
It kind of does narrow it down. So I think that like most things in this world, it's kind of just been taken out of context.
Yeah.
People
because people do use the term PC for nearly everything.
Yeah.
If you have a different opinion to somebody, they'll go, oh, stop being so PC.
Yes.
And it's like, actually, it doesn't even fall into the category of political correctness.
What the fuck are you talking about?
All got to do with society, so what are you talking about?
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
So we had a DM here from Vicky. She said, people take offence to everything now. They'll literally try and find something to slap back in your face. You can't even have the crack with people. The worst is obviously social media. Like, the thing that takes the biscuit is the whole fairy tale of New York 2FM saga. I can't even deal. How can people take offence 20 years plus after something came out and not even understand the original meaning of the word? So what she's speaking about here, there's a part 2, but just to explain to everybody, was you scumbag, you maggot, you cheap lazy faggot. And obviously faggot being a very offensive word in the LGBT plus community. Mm-hmm. She said, I completely understand that word is such a terrible meaning for the gay community, and used in that way is unacceptable, but that's not the intention here. So to turn it around annoys me. So yeah, what would you think of that?
I would agree with her sentiment in terms of the word faggot was never not offensive. It always meant the one thing.
Yeah.
But I agree with it in terms of the way she's saying it and with other examples. Like, say for instance, years ago, the term knacker would have been used solely for the travelling community. But I think that's lost. That kind of meaning has changed.
Yeah.
Over the years. A lot of people say knacker in terms of somebody who's being disgusting. It's not necessarily related to the travelling community anymore.
Yes.
But the word faggot has always been related to the gay community. So you can't really say that in that context. But I know what she means by... She's basically saying there's no malice in it.
Well, that's how I feel about that whole fairy tale New York saga. Faggot has always meant faggot.
Yeah,
It's always been a derogatory term. And one that's been thrown around, and it's one that I can't stand. And I don't know why I've always felt this way, but it's people have certain words, don't they? And you're just like, oh my God, don't say that. And I know, like, I've used the term knacker a good few times.
But you don't mean a traveller.
But I don't mean a traveller.
Exactly.
But
That's
I
what
don't feel like they're the same thing. Like, faggot is like... That's such an offensive fucking term. Like, I'm sorry, but I just think it was such an offensive term. It upsets a community. Bleep out the fucking word. Like, bleep out the word. We do it for, all the other things.
The N-word, yeah.
Well, the N-word, again, highly offensive, but we do it for bitch. We do it for hoe. We do it for,
That's true.
all those other things. So why is it such a, like, if it hurts people, then fucking bleep it out.
Yeah,
if it offends people, And I also feel like there's this kind of lad mentality, and it's sort of like, faggot, when they're singing it in a pub, 12 pubs at Christmas, fucking Christmas jumper on them with the reindeer on the front. It's like, you cheap lazy faggot.
And I will fully stay here that the word faggot has always been an offensive term. I'm not sticking up for I'm not saying that it's not.
Yeah.
But say for instance, when I was a teenager, I used to hang around with a lot of lads, and like that, the lad mentality. The word faggot was used a lot.
Yeah.
Not in terms of calling somebody gay, like, or even referencing.
No, it was just a mean term.
A bit something that a girl would. Do you know what I mean? You did something a little bit.
Yeah, people run away with the word.
You know what I mean? Yeah, they change. It's not that it changes the meaning of it, but it kind of loses the severity of it, if you know what I mean, because it's used so much. Well, it was back then. It doesn't really get used all that often now, but around a bunch of teenage lads back in 19 splash, it was used a lot.
Yeah.
And I never, when I heard them saying it, I'd never like correct them, or you know what I mean, I'd never be like, oh, don't say that, that's not nice to gay people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just didn't even think of gay people because it was just used that much. It was just an everyday thing. Do you think though that's what that girl means by the fact that she didn't actually mean that, even though the word is always and has always been offensive?
Well, I think like Shane McGowan came out about it, didn't it? Because it's kind of caused uproar in the past 10 years, I'd say. People being like, okay, seriously, what's going on here? But he came out and he was like, yeah, well, the whole idea is that like she's a horrible bitch and he's a horrible prick, and the two of them are just so like, she'd say anything to hurt him, and that's her intention. So obviously it's not a slur towards the community. She's more just being a cunt. Just her being like, her being awful basically to her partner.
Yeah.
And that's fair enough when he wrote it and it happened and whatever and it's done.
Not many people know that though.
At this time, that's exactly it. I'm kind of like, but it doesn't matter because it's a horrible word and we shouldn't be using it. So therefore it's going to be taken out. Thank you.
Yeah. No, it is very true.
And that's just me.
It was
personally.
It was written in a time, and I'm not sticking up for it at all. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I'm just saying, like, years and years and years ago, these things were not taken into consideration. That's why I suppose we're even talking about it, is because these days it's so different. Yeah, and I think again we can go back and forth, but even example, when I was traveling, one of the guys I was really like close friends with, he used it and I just immediately bounced back and I was like, do not use that word. And he was like, what? He was like, you fucking call people cunts and blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, but not that word, mate. I was like, you know what that means. And he was like, okay. Yeah. And he took it on, and then I remember another time he said it and he went, sorry. And I was like, it's okay, at least you're starting to realise it. He was like, yeah, I'm going to try and get it out of my vocabulary, because you know the way people just kind of go. But that's what I was talking about in terms of it. Sometimes people say it so much that it actually loses the severity of the meaning of it. Yeah. And it's nearly a habit.
Yes, I again.
So they're not saying it in a malicious way, even though the word, and again I will put this out there, I do not agree with that word. I absolutely hate it. Yeah. I'm just playing devil's advocate, and I'm just trying to figure out why people would still be saying it. Do you know what I mean? It's probably out of habit. It's probably out of saying it for so long that it's just lost all meaning.
Totally I can see both sides of the coin. Just me and that word, it's just like a trigger for me. I'm just not about that life. I hate it as well. I think it's just because I've seen it used in like such like, you know, intense purposes and just been horrific. But an example of when kind of these words are like not so much taken out of context, but obviously with the N word, horrific word. Oh yeah, and I think everybody knows it. Horrific word. Like there's never any like see that confusion with the words. Yeah. Faggot, it's still said by men or whatever. Yeah. They'd be so much more hesitant to say the N word, wouldn't they? Just wouldn't say that. Like, you know. Just wouldn't, yeah. So it's kind of like we need to kind of get that into our heads nowadays. But this is where I think like not so much the PC Brigade went too far, but I think it did go too far. Jessie from Little Mix was out with her friends. And I think it was a Drake or a Kanye song or something, and her friends were singing along to it, and her friends sang the N-word, because you know like Bella Hadid, and she's gone out with The Weeknd, and like she'll always dance around to his songs and she'll just go mute, and that's what I do nowadays too, because I think back in the day I'm sure we've all rapped it at some point, I'm sure we've all, but Meg, obviously learning, growing, moving forward, I'm not singing that word anymore, not in my car, not anything. You just have to kind of get out of the habit of doing singing that, singing along with it. Yeah, but she got so much backlash because she hangs around with people that sing it in a song. And I was like, lads, come on. She wasn't singing it. Her friends were singing it. Dodgy that they were singing it, but at the same time, are we going to get on the girl for that? Wow. That's an example to me of where I felt like I went too far. Now, I might push it on the whole. If there are songs, and I know it's all about, it's usually the people that are singing the N-word are black themselves, and they were, it's, the whole thing is you can't say that about white people, definitely can't say that about black people because of oppression back in the day and the way that they were all treated, and the way that there was absolutely no fucking equality, so how dare you say that. But the argument from a lot of people with the N-word is that black people still say it every single day to other black people, and they're releasing music with it in it, and I don't think they're going to be too offended by their white fans singing along with it. I don't know. I think I'd like to know their views. Yeah, I'd like to. Yeah, Kanye. Yeah, any chance? Any shot you want to pop onto the pod and just sort a few things out for us, about the N-word, babe. I'll just text Drake. Cheers. Yeah, I'll just text him. It's fine. I know him. He's my mate. I would actually like to know though, because it is a lot of people would think, what I suppose, what's my view on it? I suppose it's out there, and if this is the thing, I don't know if it's too far or if it's a step in the right direction. Do you know what I mean? I'm kind of on the fence with the N-word and rapping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like purely only with songs.
Yeah, obviously
No,
just songs.
Jesus, just with songs. But
Yeah.
I am still a bit on the fence with that. I don't know. Like, I can see a strong part in both sides on that.
Okay, this is my thing on the N word as well. They're taking the power back into their community by using it in like their culture, and music is obviously culturally diverse. It's kind of one of those things, but I just don't think it allows us to float about and say it, and that's just personally me myself. Like,
Yeah.
I just think that it can be offensive. Just don't. It's better off to just not do it
Yeah,
than
yeah.
do it and kind of be on the fence and not really sure. And people slip up, they absolutely do. But I thought it was nice that like, not nice, but I thought it was good that it was pointed out, like with Bella doing her little dance in her sexy bikini.
Yeah.
And just not saying the word, and I was like, you go, girl. But then also, is that pandering? Would they say it in private?
Yeah,
What's the crack?
yeah. What's the crack? Bella, any chance?
Bella, any chance you want to pop on the pot?
Or Actually, I'll text Gigi.
Yeah. Get Yolanda on it too, just the whole Hadid crew.
The whole Hadid crew?
Basically.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I suppose that's where it goes with those kind of two things. But again, very oppressive words. Like, those two words are like trigger, life.
But that's the thing as well, and I don't think people, again, it's down to ignorance and not being educated on it. And it's one of the things that my eyes have been open to in the last year, because I was in a situation where, and I might get a good bit, look, it's called the unpopular opinion. The whole thing with blackface, right?
Oh.
So, it was around last October, a teacher in America was dressing up for Halloween. And she's a Caucasian teacher, and she wanted to dress up as a character from Napoleon Dynamite who was black. So what she did was, she dressed up as a character, but she also changed the colour of her skin to represent better that character. And she lost her job. A news presenter also stuck up for her and lost her job.
Oof.
I can't remember. I must look at that and see. I think the news presenter was black.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Like, I just need to... will you actually Google that while I finish this story?
Google
Because
that. You tell the story.
Basically, I was on my way back from rehearsals. I was a part of a show where one of the characters that I played, and it was purely and solely down to the reason that I can change my action to this very, very quickly, and I know how to do it.
Oh,
right? Okay? So can you imagine how better to portray that character? Definitely with Dark Foundation, right? But my view on the whole thing was, because we only had, that I saw, one complaint out of that show, and I won't even name the show because I don't want anybody going digging and giving the writer of the show a hard time. We saw one complaint saying absolutely loved the show but was disappointed to see they called it blackface on the stage in 2018. And my view on it at the time, and I was actually coming back from rehearsals and they were talking about this particular subject because it was in October, about the blackface, the teacher doing it in America. And there was a woman who was saying, oh no, okay, sorry, correction there, the old news presenter was not black.
Megyn Kelly,
I'm pretty sure that I saw black people sticking up for it, though. Maybe that's where I'm getting confused.
Yeah.
But so the argument was, should she have lost her job, the teacher, for doing it? And the way I was thinking of it was, hang on a minute. If she had gone in dressed as Mariah Carey, like, Grant.
But
like,
Mariah Carey's not black.
No, this is what the argument was.
Oh, yeah.
The teacher could have gone in dressed as Mariah Carey. She's a pop star, she's American, she's a singer, she's an icon, she's a woman, she's all this.
It's a diva.
But if she had gone dressed as Whitney Houston and tried to portray herself better by darkening her skin, she'd have been ripped apart. Even though she's a woman, she's a singer, she's an icon, she's American. All the exact same things apart from the colour of the skin. And my, I suppose, ignorance at the time was, hang on a fucking minute. Are we not going for equality here? We're all human beings. Mm-hmm. If a black person wanted to portray a white character and change their skin by doing it, I wouldn't get offended. But I had an argument, and it was because I was driving home from rehearsals. I had an argument with a girl over the radio, and she was like, yeah, Jen, but white people weren't oppressed. She's like, it's
Yeah.
the whole thing. It's the whole thing of back in the day with the minstrels and the gollywogs and the whole blackface thing, which I obviously
know about
wasn't.
it, or-
Not that I didn't. I suppose if I had seen a gollywog, it would have been familiar to me. I'd never researched it. I never looked into it. And this is where one of those situations where like, oh shit, I shit the bed because I never realised the severity of that. I wasn't around at the time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I wasn't alive when all that was happening. It's not relevant to me anymore. It doesn't happen anymore. Thankfully, it doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
But my side of the thing was we're all human. If I want to dress up as a black person, I should be allowed to. If a black person wants to dress up as a white person, they should be allowed to. It's been done. White chicks, and that was a big argument in that show as well. But the bottom line was basically white people weren't oppressed, so that's not okay.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. And that did open my eyes to that. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Now I'm like, with the whole blackface thing, but I still kind of do have a little bit of a hand in the whole, should we not just like, I know what happened and I know it's an important part of history and I know that, don't get me wrong, but I'd like to be in a place where we're all like, oh no, I'm just a human, I'm just dressing up as that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would like to be in a place, but then again, I know it's important to remember the history there.
Yeah, I think
so it's hard to, you know what I mean?
I think, I remember seeing something before and it was like, you know, blackface is one thing, saying the N-word is another thing. But if you I think the issue is that, you know, it was just such a huge part of history.
Yeah.
And the oppression of the community.
Yeah.
And how badly and how awfully they were treated. And I think I remember seeing a tweet or something once and it was like, okay, so what's next? Are we going to be cool with lynching?
Yeah.
Or are we going to be cool with, what else are we going to be cool with? Are we just going to make it cool? Is everything going to be fine? And I know there's a lot of like, young, like, you know, you've seen all those tan addicts and then they're saying that they're like trying to appropriate culture and all of that other kind of situation. I think that's another huge thing as well, is like people trying to appropriate different cultures. There's actually a really good YouTube video and it's with a drag queen. His name's Bob the drag queen. Don't know if you know him. He is black and he says by default, if you're white, you're racist. It's just, he was like, nothing you can do about it. Born white, you're a racist.
That's not fair though.
Not fair, but I would recommend if you're really interested in this subject to watch the video. He makes a good point in some kind of cases, but he's just kind of basically saying that like we will never know what it's like to be in that community.
Oh Jesus, we definitely won't.
Therefore, we will never be able to understand how bad like blackface is, the N-word is, all these other kind of things are, because we never grew up with those little, he's like, it's not even about big things, it's about the little things
Yeah.
that are done.
The certain
and that you notice.
disadvantages.
Yeah, the disadvantages. So it's actually, if you're interested in this topic of race and all that other kind of stuff, I would really recommend it. I think he did it with a couple of other drag queens as well. And yeah, give it a go.
Yeah, I must actually watch that.
Yeah.
That I did, yeah. I'll watch it before I say that's an unfair statement as well, because he obviously has a point to make. On the other side of that, what do you think of people, which it has been done, and it still happens to this day, and I don't see, this is the thing, I don't want to offend anyone by saying it, but it's mostly, I'm very hesitant to say this, but I have seen it.
Okay.
I have been accused of it.
Oh, okay.
It's mostly down to people who are who have emigrated here.
Okay.
Who, I suppose, basically saying that you're not doing something for them. Because obviously I work in retail, but saying, oh, it's because I'm black, when it's obviously not because they're black. It's because there are certain rules to follow and you haven't followed them. I don't want to be too specific because I don't want to I'm not speaking on behalf of my actual job here, but there are certain, there's a certain infrastructure within the medical card system.
Oh.
That a lot of the people who have emigrated here from the likes of Nigeria and that, they all have medical cards. So it's a hell of a lot more complicated to get your medication on the medical card than it is for a private patient.
Really? I didn't know that.
And obviously there's an awful lot of there's an awful lot of Irish people that are on the medical card as well, but it's the same rule for all. But I find sometimes, I find sometimes that if something doesn't go somebody's way,
Yeah.
you're automatically called a racist. It's like, oh, you're racist, it's because I'm black, that's why I can't get that. And it's like, no, there's just a rule that you have to follow. Like, there's just another, it's a kind of step that you have to do.
So I'm sure in 90% of the times they're probably throwing it around to get a reaction.
Yeah.
And to see what the situation is. But would you not say that's from conditioning of the way that they've been treated? 10% would be more conditioning, and like the way that they've been treated and the way that people act around them, and people have acted around them their whole life, you know?
Dare I say, and this isn't...
And by them, I mean that person, not by as in...
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to specify.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I don't think so. I find that, and it's not just with one certain culture, it's with all people who emigrate here from all different parts of the world for the benefits of the system.
Mm-hmm.
They have been told what they're entitled to. And they have been speaking to friends. It's the reason why they're here in the first place. You can get this, and this.
Yeah, well, that's our fucking system fucked, isn't it?
Yeah, you can get this, and this. And if they're told no,
that's when they're like,
that's
kick
when
off.
It's thrown away.
Kick off central.
That's when it's thrown around. And I've seen it happening. So I'm not even, this isn't even hearsay. I've seen it happening. And I have to say, it does infuriate me.
Really?
Because it's the exact same rule for an Irish person. And if it doesn't go their way, they don't, like, they'll be like, oh yeah, okay, what do I, not say, like, there's still a complicated Irish people as well, like, they'll still be pissed off, but 9 times out of 10 it'll be like, oh, okay, I didn't know that, I'll go and do that or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the same situation will happen with somebody who's come here to benefit from the system. And it's like, no, sorry, you can't get that, you need to do this. Oh, that's because I'm, like, you're only saying that because I'm from such a place. And it's like, no.
I'd say you're like, I don't actually fucking know where you're from. But
I don't know where you're from. I actually couldn't give a shit about what the cultural differences here. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's fuck all to do with this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And sometimes I feel like it's on the forefront of a lot of their minds.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, I am this colour, she is that colour, so all of it. So technically, if she has a problem with me, that's what it is. That's what the problem is. And it's like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
There's like, you know, it's and I find it very unfair.
Yeah.
That it's thrown around and that you can be accused so easily.
Yeah.
Of being a racist when you're just following rules.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, and again, I have the same opinion. I'd say sometimes, like a lot of the times, I'd say it is just for reaction because they're not used to having kickback when it comes to it. But it could just be conditioning through all the years of discrimination that they've had. So, I mean, I think it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, if you know what I mean.
That's absolutely true. And I'm trying my hardest to not be so specific here and not to offend people, but I'm talking about factual stuff that's actually happened.
Yeah, definitely. You're talking about experience, and that's what it's all about. And also, lads, this podcast is for unpopular opinions.
Yeah, that's
it's true. For, you know, we can learn and grow together. We can educate each other. And it's nice to hear other sides of the story because, like, something like that has never happened to me. So how would I know?
Okay,
you know? So, like, how the fuck would I know?
All you have to do is listen to Niall Boylan on fucking 4FM, and I swear to God, like, some of the stuff that just happened.
Really?
Some of it, like, no, I can't listen to it. You'd be in the height of it. I have to, not just, not like cultural differences around like that, just benefit sheets and stuff like that.
Oh, God.
Really pisses me off.
Oh, that I want to listen to that now because I'd say it's iconic.
Really pisses me off.
So we've loads of DMs, loads of opinions here. I have another. They want to stay anon. Okay. Hello, anon. So it said it's PC stuff. It's confusing and can go too far, but at least it generates conversations. Married to a guy from a rural village, not that far from Dublin, but they say really derogatory things and they don't necessarily mean them. It's complete ignorance. Like, he's just a queer when a gay guy was being a full dick. It was said as if that's a normal when people are queer. Little faggot to describe a bold child. Oh, Jesus. And the racist remarks are unbelievable. It's not malice, but at least when you say you can't say that, it starts a conversation. So
that's what I mean as well, about things being said so often and for so long that they've just lost meaning.
Yeah.
That they're just thrown away in a slangy way, and there's actually no malice in them, but people do need to stop.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's like different generations, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I actually have one here.
Yeah.
From another Aisling. I actually have it written down. It's another Aisling.
Yeah.
Right direction, I think. Too much pushed under the rug in our parents' generation.
So interesting, because I find that I'm constantly educating my parents on things nowadays.
Yeah.
On stuff that's okay and not okay, and like when we just be having conversations, I'm like, Mum, you can't say that.
Yeah.
She's like, what? I don't mean offence by it. And I'm like, you fucking can't, you can't say it.
Yeah.
You can't fucking say it.
I don't think that my parents are actually like that would actually say something that would be offensive. But last night, very interestingly, my dad came home and what was on the news? It was about Pride.
Okay.
They were advertising all the goings on that's happening in the lead up to Pride, and he was like, "Oh, that." My dad was like this. "Oh, that LGBT, that's really taking the forefront now, isn't it?" And saying it to me, mum, as if I wasn't even in the room.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, yeah, there's loads of like transgenders and gender neutrals and all, like and getting presenters. They're going to be newsreaders next. Yeah, it's good, yeah." I was like,
cute. It is cute though, isn't it?
It is cute, like that they're, because like when they were growing up, it was so alien to them. Coming out of the closet, like that was a big, and it still is. I'm not taking away from it now, but just with the attitudes of people back in the 60s and 70s, like there's film. What's the film that's out? I actually haven't been able to watch it. It's about a boy coming out and the parents just basically like try and get him away from the...
Haven't heard of it.
I'm
American? Irish? Or is it?
No, I think they showed the premiere over here. I can't remember what it is, but it's only a brand new 2019 film.
Oh, okay.
But just I haven't been able to watch it because I've heard of how disturbing it is and some of the stuff that used to happen to men when they did come out of the closet back in the day, and it's just heartbreaking, and I couldn't, you know what I mean? So for... like, I suppose if parents are open-minded to it, it's great that they came up in that generation and probably being told that it's wrong. Yeah. And they're able to get the fuck over it and have their own opinion on it and be okay with it. I love that. Like,
it's like conditioning as well. Like, I mean, I think a lot of our parents' generation and our grandparents especially generation, it's just the conditioning. It's the stuff that was brought up around them, and it's like it's very hard to break somebody out of that. It's like the way we are towards women in society, and how like fucking, and like towards fat people too. It's like we're fat phobic. We fucking hate women. Like stuff like that. It's like trying to break that condition. We'll get there eventually.
I think we have made a big impact. I definitely think we do. Like, there was a story last year of who's dad? It was somebody's dad went on the Pride bus with him.
Oh yeah.
Oh, did you see the video on Facebook? Oh, it was the cutest thing. He was the most supportive dad ever, and he just it was a lovely video. And then as well, I wanted to comment as well because what you were saying about society and women. Mm-hmm. My granddad, he died last June. It was this time last June. It was around the time of repeal. Mm-hmm. And I went up to my granddad, and he was, God love him, he was like on his last legs in the bed. You know what I mean? He was dying of cancer. And the vote had come through. It was an absolute landslide. And I was like, what do you think of the result? And he was like, it's absolutely brilliant for women. Yeah. It's absolutely, he said, he's our absolute heroes. Like, the way I can't remember his exact words now, but the way he spoke about women, he was so in awe of them all. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And he was like, he was 83, and, you know, he was obviously brought up in a different generation as well, but he was all for to repeal.
But again, that's
and it was amazing to see, like...
I think it's like conditioning, but then there's always going to be free thinkers, isn't there? There's always going to be those kind of people that just have totally different things and that can kind of keep a conversation with the generation going, I suppose. Yeah. We have another DM here. Okay, this is on a flip side. People shouldn't get away with saying what they want and making it the norm. It's like the rape culture in Ireland. The locker room talk needs to stop to change the culture. I'm all up for the crack, but demeaning people shouldn't be normal. Yeah. Yeah. Agree with that sentiment.
Absolutely.
And on the flip side, we have another saying, separate DM here. You can't criticise people without being accused of being racist, sexist, ageist, insensitive. Sometimes it's necessary to point out when someone is wrong. Some people are arseholes, plain and simple.
Yeah, I think there's a fine line between... Look, she kind of does touch on what I was saying. Sometimes you can't be...
Yeah.
You can't say something to somebody without them all of a sudden turning around and calling you a racist. Do you know what I mean? She does kind of touch on that a bit. But I do think it's about, like you said, conditioning. If something is said in a criticising way, a conversation needs to be had.
Yeah.
Like, the education needs to be there. There needs to be less ignorance.
Yeah.
And, like, I know, like, even the poll that I did saying is it gone too far, is it a step in the right direction? I understand that there are snowflakes out there and that there are people who get offended on other people's behalfs, which can be annoying, and it's like, sorry, how does it affect you? Sorry. But I can see what they're doing in terms of looking at a future. Well, my little boy, I'd love for him to be in a society where there is none of that. Mm-hmm. There's none of that. Like, even thinking about the colour of somebody's skin or thinking about somebody's sexual orientation or their gender or anything like that. I want him to grow up in a society where everything is equal. So I think in order for us to get that, we do need to be more PC. We do need to push it in that direction. But then as well, I don't want comedy to die because PC culture is taken over and we can't fucking say anything anymore.
But I think comedy lives in a separate existence, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, because people have specifically come up with these jokes for a set.
And to be scandalous and to
be
kind
scandalous, to be witty, to show an observation on it that might be funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And sometimes, like, especially with male comedians, they fucking rag on women, like absolutely annihilate.
But
and you have to laugh.
To men,
you have to laugh. Oh no, I know they do, but just from specific, like, people that I've seen, like, stand up and stuff like that, a lot of comedians' whole gig is just like them ragging on women, like, the whole time, and you just laugh. But I do feel like comedians they do live in almost a separate, and when they go too far, fuck me, they take the fall.
Yeah.
Like, there's been plenty of that as well.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Look at Frankie Boyle. He's one of the most offensive fuckers walking the planet. And
but that's his shtick, isn't it?
Hasn't fazed him.
It hasn't fazed him, but, like, I have seen, I can't remember his fucking name now. I think he might have been Australian. Bollocks, that's going to wreck my head now. But I think he said something really horrific toward a minority about something. I actually can't remember the details. All I remember is that him coming out and being like, yeah, went too far. Totally didn't read the room with that one.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, well, at least he said it, you know. But and I think that comedy does live in its own separate sphere, but sometimes you can go too far, even in that separate sphere of your life.
Yeah. The one thing that jumps out at me with comedy though is Ricky Gervais. He makes such good points. If you've never seen his Netflix special called Humanity, it's fucking fantastic at putting things into perspective when it comes to political correctness.
Really?
It's fucking fantastic. Like, he used the example before of people getting offended on other people's behalfs.
Yeah.
He said it's like somebody going up to a notice board and pinning up guitar lessons for whatever price and having your little fringing of the phone numbers.
Yeah.
And it's it's like somebody coming up to the notice board, not a fucking bit of interest in the guitar, but taking the number, calling the number and going, I don't fucking want guitar lessons. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
He uses those kind of
like
situations to like metaphorically explain a situation on people getting offended on other people's behalfs.
Yeah.
And I think it does actually, it's like, yeah, that's really true. It kind of is like that. Do you know what I mean? Now, it's all about context as well, but he does have a point.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But then I will still stand by, if we're to move forward as a society, you kind of need a bit of that.
I think we will get to a place though. I think so, just with the level of tolerance that our generation, I think, has. Now, obviously, a lot of our generation are still fucking scumbags, but
yeah,
it's with the kind of level of like, I think we will get to a point where your kid will be in a class and it just they'll just chill, and it'll just
Yeah.
be normal, and everything will be really normal, and it won't be like that boy's different because of X, and you know.
Yeah.
I think that we will get to that place. Do you have any specific examples of a time that you've been like, right, you've taken that totally out of context?
No, I'd probably have loads, and I'll probably think of them all at 12 o'clock tonight when it's too late.
Or in the shower? That's when I think of
Yeah.
all my best material.
Yeah, you said that before. Now I'm usually lying in bed and I'm like, shit, I should have said that. Leave that one with me.
Yeah.
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 There's definitely been loads though. Oh, you know, like when, say for, and this is a really general one, but say for instance, there's like a video of a dog doing something on the Lad Bible. Or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Or somebody is surprising their kid with a dog.
Yeah.
Like a puppy. I actually saw one recently where they surprised their son with a little puppy, and he was in a box. Now the puppy was crying because he was obviously literally only after being put in the box.
Yeah.
He was there not even a minute
Yeah.
before the little boy took the thing. But all of the comments were complaining about the puppy being in the box.
Fuck's sake.
And it's like, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
It's clear that the puppy was crying because he had just been put in the box. And although it's not nice and it is heartbreaking to hear the little puppy, he's being looked at. He's not being bet around the shop.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's clearly only after being put
It's not been
in
left
there.
out in the rain.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like if I was to ever do that now, I'd be petrified of doing that. I'd have to put it in a cage and just cover the front of it with a blanket so that nobody could say that. And you know what I mean? I'd
Yeah. You'd overthink it.
Yeah, exactly. I'd overthink it because of all those comments. But clearly they were just... Like the first port of call for them was to complain about the thing that might have looked a bit wrong in that.
Yeah.
Do you know, where it was such an innocent video. The little boy he was bawling after getting his puppy. He was so delighted. The whole family were delighted with their lives. Do you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was such a cute video, but all the comments were literally just about the puppy crying in the box.
So sad. It takes
Isn't
away the
it?
fucking special, doesn't
Well,
it?
that's it. Like, and that's one of the things where I'm like, come on, like, don't be nitpicking. Do you know what I mean? It's obvious what's going on here.
You're doing something just to do something.
Yeah, exactly.
A thing that keeps coming up actually,
What?
in a lot of the DMs. I'll read out the DM and then I'll explain it. So, I'm a manager in a shop that I've been in for 10 years now. When I started out, you'd listen and put up with all sorts of telling off from a senior member of staff. You'd get on with your day. Nowadays, you can't give your opinion on people's performance without them bringing their rights into it. Like, cop on, you're doing something wrong, take the criticism and get on with it. Now, I've seen this a million times, and we did get a lot of DMs about this.
Okay.
Apparently, our generation, this is just obviously from what I've seen, is just cannot take any kind of form of critique.
Yeah, there was a big entitlement there.
Yeah.
I see this a lot with having to do with the HSE. Public servants, they just don't know how to do their jobs. Well, the people that I fucking deal with don't know how to do their jobs.
Yeah.
But it's like they're never going to lose their jobs. They have a pensionable job. They have better hours than me, probably getting paid better than me, and they haven't got an iota of cop on about them.
I think that as well.
But they probably can't, like the people in charge probably can't do anything about it, or probably can't even say anything about their performance. I'd imagine that's what's going on there.
There's so much structure around, and just from myself, like having said things and done things in the past and being like, oh fucking dog, like this is bad. But a lot of the times it's this I love to call it de-union mentality.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? And it's like, I'm just checking my rights with the union. Fuck off. Like, I'm sorry, no, I'm not here for the crack. I'm not taking, like, we're in here, we're doing an informal like meeting, because what is it? It's written warning, and then verbal, written, and then
or could it be two verbals and a written?
two verbals and a written. Yeah, two verbals and a written, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And it's kind of like, if we're here and this is like your second verbal or your fucking written, we've been here before, Betty,
and you've done nothing to improve the situation.
It's still a problem.
Yeah.
So you can get to the union all you want, but I totally get there is so many employers that take
the piss, yeah,
the piss out of their employees.
Absolutely.
But a lot of the times, what you don't understand is that if you're getting pulled into the office, this has been checked, triple checked, quadruple checked. Like, I know myself from my old job, I used to be back and forth on the fucking phone to HR 150 fucking times, being like, now are you sure I can say this? And they'd be like, okay, let me just check this for 2 seconds, caller. Yes, okay. And you'd be like,
Right.
So best believe if you're in that room and you're having a warning or you're doing any kind of grievances, it's been checked, double checked, triple checked, especially in a larger corporation.
You are allowed to say this.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of we've done this, but then again, there's a union for a reason. So I suppose.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But that's because of the piss taker employers, and I'd imagine that's with smaller companies.
Yeah.
Because there's usually no HR in a smaller company.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm surprised at how many companies don't have like a HR, sit-in HR person.
Oh yeah. No, I don't have a HR person in my job.
Mad.
Yeah. No, we don't necessarily need one.
No, I was about to say, that's
yeah, we're grand. We all
thing.
have a bit cop on about it. You know what I mean? We have a problem, we'll say it's forgotten about, it's done.
Yeah.
We work on it. Do you know what I mean? We're actually really great in our job.
We're really cool. We're a gang.
My job is great in that it is like that. Do you know what I mean? And we can, if we have a problem, we have the bosses right there.
Yeah.
To be able to say it straight away, like. But I can see why, like, there will be a union in that, because especially in times of recession and stuff like that, like shit went down.
But I thought it was just so Irish of us, like kind of what went down in the same level, because people were getting away with fucking murder.
Yeah.
But that's just because we'd never had that kind of level of shit going down before, had we?
No, well, not our generation.
No.
They did in the 80s, but not us. Like,
yeah,
we didn't know what the fuck we were entitled to. Like, wages were getting cut, bonuses were getting cut.
People were getting fired on the spot.
We were getting made to do more because people were losing their jobs. We were still on less pay than what we got. Like, it was
crazy.
A shit show.
Crazy, like.
Yeah. And then, especially when you look at, I suppose, like the construction, like they're usually the first to go. The construction trade, forced to go in a recession, and the way all their workers were just literally laid off. Like, surely there has to be a bit of comeback when something like that goes down. Like, it just absolutely fell apart.
Yeah.
So you can see why there are unions and stuff like that. Let me see. Oh, I have an unpopular opinion here. I actually might not name her just in case. She says, feminists shoving everything down your throat about repeal. I'm going to let you have a rant about this one, Carl.
I think, like, if you know me, I'm just not a very emotional person. I'm just not. I'm like fucking blank. I am me very much 24/7, and I don't really get, like, I don't get cryy.
Yeah.
You know? And I mean, I bawled when repeal got obviously passed.
Yeah.
Bawled my eyes out. And I was sitting on my couch being like, I'm so pathetic. I hope Ray doesn't come in now. Because he'd literally be like, cop on now. Because I was the boy in the family, you know? So I am the boy. I'm Carl. But, yeah, I'm Carl. But I think, right, me and Tom were only having this conversation earlier. And I don't know why. I think it could have been something that, like, my mum said. I don't know. Love my mum. She's actually mad, some of the things that she comes out with. But I think we were in the car and we were just discussing it. But we were discussing the whole feminist issue. And, like, does nobody know what feminist means?
I think it's lost in translation.
Lads, it's in the Beyonce song, okay? It's in fucking, what's that one? I Woke Up Like This.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you break it down, there's, I can't remember her name now, but she's a huge political activist and motivational, you know.
Okay.
And she breaks it down, and it's literally, if a feminist means the social, political and economical equality between the sexes.
Yeah.
So there's probably plenty of people out there who are feminists without even knowing that they're feminists.
But people think the word feminist means burning your bra.
Yeah.
Having your period rolling down your leg.
Yeah, oh fuck's sake. Not shaving your pits.
Not shaving your pits. Being absolutely horrible towards men.
Yeah.
That's what people think feminists are.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's women who just want to be equal to men.
That's literally, it's looking for those things, exactly. It's like political, social ideologies that are shared. And I just think that you can't say it was feminists right fighting for repeal because you probably are a feminist without realising that you're a feminist.
Exactly. Like, what you can't turn around and say that you'd be happy with a man earning twice as much as you just because of his gender. Like, if you are happy with that, then right, that's your own buzz. But if you're not happy about that, then you're a feminist.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think that, like, again, it's that word. It's like there's certain words that I feel like that we latch on to.
Yeah.
Sorry, the fucking cat is here now. He's just decided to join the podcast party. So annoying. But I just don't really agree with that whatsoever. I don't think it was feminist. I think it was like if you were in any way involved and liked women at all, or their health, or their, you know, their right to make choices about themselves, that was repeal was for everybody. Repeal was just like another incredible step forward in Ireland, just being a fucking great place to live.
Yeah, well,
TBH.
Becoming.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, becoming. Like, I mean, we've voted, we voted progressively on every single thing since 95.
We have, yeah.
That's iconic.
That is iconic.
And I just think that statement just kind of whittles it down, doesn't it? And kind of puts it into a box.
It does, yeah. And it puts a bit of a bad spin on it as well.
Yeah.
Like, I know that there were women who were a bit more crazy, like, and in your face than others.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that the whole campaign, and that's another thing, like, I don't know who wrote that in. I'm trying to see where you're coming from, you know? I'm trying to sit with you here. I'm trying to understand where you're coming from, but this is just, again, my opinion on it, and you could be at home listening to this now and being like, fuck you, girl, I'm bleeding sick. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that the whole campaign wasn't fought the right way. It doesn't mean that at all, you know? And I remember, who the fuck said it to me? Oh, I did many rants on repeal. many rants on repeal. And they're still there, actually. But I remember one person said something to me and they go, you're not going to win this thing with that attitude. And I felt like, would you go and fuck yourself?
Yeah.
I won it. Me, myself and I, we fucking won it anyway. So actually, I did win this thing.
There are different ways of doing it, and there are, obviously everybody has different personalities and stuff, whereas somebody could have thinking Carla, the way she was going on about repeal, was a raging feminist.
Yeah.
I was coming on Snapchat and I was saying, look, this is what would happen if repeal was put forward. This is what happens if repeal is kept back. And I just said it the way that I'm talking now. I didn't, I've never had to avail of any of the services. I've never been affected by repeal or not being able to repeal. I just wanted the choice. And I got, after I spoke about it, I got quite the opposite thing, the reaction to you. I got women texting me saying, that's gas. My husband didn't know how to vote and he listened to me listening to your Snapchat and he's going to vote yes now.
Yeah, I mean...
Do you know what I mean? So, like, it's gas the way... But I was doing the exact same thing as you, just in a different way.
Yeah, I mean, I got some kickback. I didn't get loads of kickback.
Yeah,
and I have to say, I was more just kind of like, hi, this is exactly where I stand. Because I feel like a lot of the times on social media, people aren't honest about where they stand and they love to hop in on the celebrations afterwards.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Jesus,
and stay stay very, very, very quiet during the whole thing just because they don't want to damage their reputation. And again, I'm like, fuck that crack. And I totally get it. Like, this is some people's jobs and stuff, but this is also women's lives and people are dying.
Yeah, when you hear it was, I mean, I understand that everybody has their own view on it. And there was a bit of a blogger in particular who's struggling to get pregnant at the moment. She came out and said that she was voting no. And there was gossip about her. Basically, people were saying that they were unfollowing her because of her view on it. Now, I could see why she was voting no, and I knew repeal was going to win, so it didn't really fucking bother me, like, to be honest. But I also...
Did you think that it was going to win?
Yeah.
Oh, I got so nervy.
Oh, no.
Oh, I got so fucking nervy.
Oh, Jesus, no.
Because the problem is they were giving platforms to the wrong fucking people. And a lot of the debates I was not about.
They were sounding ridiculous, though. The no side sounded fucking delusional. Would you stop?
But I think it was, I remember it was, I was in London during was it the Claire Byrne show? I think I've brought this up loads of times before.
The bleeding eye
and it just went left.
Oh, no.
And I remember being like, oh.
No, definitely not.
I was so nervy.
No.
I had a nervy bee.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, again, it was kind of where we were going. Like, I could do a whole fucking podcast on Irish media and all that other shit. And just how much I fucking hate a lot of the shit that we do. But I will say that, like, I just think that we kind of need to just become a little bit more educated about certain words and certain meanings of things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's how I feel there.
Absolutely.
Have another DM. It's a direct message, if you will.
Okay.
And this is an interesting one here. I always feel like I have to proofread something that I'm going to comment online or watch what I say in conversation because someone always gets offended. It's like they go out of their way to find something to be offended about. It's actually ridiculous. People shout so much about free speech, but we really don't have it at all. I'm dreading what it's going to be like in 5 years' time. Love the podcast. Look forward to it every year. Every week, not every year. Don't know why I decided to insert every year there.
We upload every year.
Just once a year, really. Get excited about our podcast. We upload once a year. So yeah, but I think this is interesting because being a person on the internet, right, that I am, a lot of the times I'll record something and I'll go, whoop, no, can't put that up. You know, you'll say something and you'll go, whoop, nope, whoop.
I do find that if I'm with somebody, so I'll say like I'm with Jer, and we're putting up an Instagram story, I will always have to do it at least 3 times because one of us says something inappropriate.
Well, I've noticed that about you. You're very controlled.
Do you think so?
Yes. You stop me doing loads of things.
Oh, yeah. You see, I'm just...
Jen's the fun police in this relationship.
It's not that in the fun police. I just like that. I couldn't be fucking arsed with arguing with people, to be honest. Which is just not worth it.
It's the donkey mentality again. Yeah,
that's it.
Why are you fighting a donkey? And I do totally get that. And sometimes I'm like, no, put it up. But then other times I'm like, no, whoop, that was a slip of the tongue. So... I can kind of see, but I also think there's 2 sides to that. Yeah, it's shit because people will just get offended. But also, I think it's better that we kind of watch what we say a bit more free. I wish more fucking people on the internet watched what they said. Yeah.
No, that's the thing. That's just... That mentality will put us a step in the right direction. Do you know what I mean? Put us in a society that will eventually not think about, and it won't... There'll be non-topics. None of this shit will even have to exist.
Have you ever had a fake profile?
On what?
On like Instagram, Facebook or any of that shit?
No.
I had one. It was a Katy Perry fan page. I used to use it to creep on guys. Guys that were like like Tom, basically.
Oh my God.
On guys, aka the one man that I was obsessed with who's upstairs currently, Tom. Hilarious. But but that was the only way it ever kind of came into my head. I'd be like, how the fuck can I see that girl's story and make sure that like he's not in the background or any of those kind of things? And I'd be like, right, fuck it, I'll do. Or you know when you're fighting and you're like, I'm not looking at his looking at his story. Katy Perry might.
I've never been in a situation where I needed to do that.
Yeah. But the one thing that I've never ever thought was a clever idea was to create a fake profile to go and abuse someone. Don't really know where that came. Or leave a comment that you wouldn't. If you don't feel confident leaving a comment on your own profile, don't fucking leave the comment. Is that not a buffer in itself? Is that not a big fucking neon red flag?
Yeah, that's true. That was a great point because I was just about to make the point that these people, although being bitchy, are just being honest as well. But at the same time, have the balls to own it.
That's your honesty.
Yeah.
So take your honesty with your real name and your real fucking profile and own that.
Yeah.
And I just be like, gas. I had that for like whatever amount of time that I found it necessary. Never in my life was I like, do you know what's really cool? I'm just going to go on and really let this person know how I feel, but through my fake profile.
Yeah. So that they can still watch it. That kind of sparks something in me that person's not well, that they still want to watch it on their own profile.
Yeah.
Might even be messaging you nice messages on their own profile, then going on to the fake one and arguing with you, or you know, they're only doing that because there's a possibility that you may block them, but at least their real profile can still see it. That kind of freaks. Sorry now, if you do that, that's a bit psychotic.
Yeah.
Sorry now to be the bearer of bad news, but that is psychotic. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Like, if you think about it, like, and not even, like, there's probably people who do it and they're listening going, no, it's grand. Imagine someone did it to you. Just close your eyes for 10 seconds. Imagine somebody did it to you. What would you think of that person?
Yeah.
You would think they were fucking psycho. That's why I think bloggers and influencers and people who put themselves out there who are attacked by these people do go defensive about them.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of the people I will in their defense, if you do it from your normal profile, some of them can take criticism. But when shit like that is done off a fake profile and you're saying it just to be fucking bastards,
it takes the whole thing out of it, though.
It does. It really, you like your opinion means fuck all to them after that point.
Yeah. Even if you were making a very, very like good statement, do you get me? I'm kind of like, but you've done it off a fake profile.
Yeah, it means nothing.
Yeah, I'm like, well, that's unfortunate. We could have debated that topic, but you did it off a fake profile, so I'll see you later, Jady Wadey, achy baby.
Yeah, I'm not going to take you seriously now. Like, you just lose all fucking... Any point that you did make that could have been good, like, I just don't respect anymore.
No, I don't feel that.
Yeah.
I don't feel that vibe.
That's true. Well, I have another one here from Kira. When people whisper, this is actually, again, it's a fact, but people seem to not do it anymore. When people whisper, quote unquote, the black fella, they are black. It's not a secret. Like, come on, seriously.
So the only thing, I've tried to look this up not millions of times, but loads of different times, but when it's black, isn't it? You don't say colour. Colour's really offensive. You don't say mixed race because that means something totally different. So, like, it's like, why are you whispering?
Yeah.
It's like you're describing them. I'm trying to say.
You're trying to differentiate something, like, it's not a derogatory term. They call themselves black people and we call ourselves white people. Yeah. Even though technically... we should be calling ourselves Caucasian. Is there another technical word for it?
No, Caucasian, yeah. Caucasian is your race.
Do black people call themselves, like, is there a more politically
I know African American goes, but they're not always African American, though. That's why that's null and void for most people. Like, obviously that's huge in America because it's African American.
But I'm talking about somebody who's from Nigeria who's living in Ireland. Would they call themselves just African?
Nigerian.
Yeah. I suppose their own culture.
Yeah.
But like
Nigerian,
they
Kenyan.
call themselves black. We call ourselves white. It's just a thing. It is a factual thing.
Yeah. So
I don't see why it should be whispered. I remember I used to get my hair extensions done by Nigerian women. Used to go into one of their salons. You know where they do all the mad extensions and everything, to put big French plait in your hair. They sew the weave into your hair and everything like that. I was always called the white girl when I went in there. Now I know I was never my like, you know, white people were never oppressed by black people and it shouldn't offend me. But it was a fact. That's how they differentiate. That's how they let their friends know that I was the one that they were talking about. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get you.
It's a factual thing. Like, I wasn't offended by that, but I find that I do agree with Kira. Like, it is a fact. Let's just be honest.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from there. Here's a example of obviously it going too far. So, Nemo said, I work in a waste company. Our bins are in general black, brown and green. I've had people calling in to say we shouldn't say the black bin or the brown, and I feel like this is probably too far.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd agree with that sentiment.
Again, it's a fact. You're describing something. You're describing the colour of something.
Yeah.
It's the colour of a
bin.
Of a bin.
Yeah. We're going to start calling it like the Dove bin.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Another one here from Pauline saying, the problem is definitely online. No one is just entitled to their opinion anymore. There's always a few special snowflakes to get offended and jump down your throat. Well, I feel like you can find offence in anything, so...
Yeah, that's true.
Probably people ragingly offended right now as they listen to this.
Yeah, I'm sure that people have come across what they call a snowflake, i.e. people getting offended by literally everything, including stuff that doesn't affect them at all. Mm-hmm. I think a bit of it is needed again, as I said, to throw society to where we'd like it to be. Yeah. But sometimes it does go a bit far, and like I said earlier on, nitpicking. Picking out the bad in things, like that video. Yeah. Going straight to complain about what was wrong about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Not seeing the good in things. Like, very negative altogether. I think we should try and do it in a positive way. Mm-hmm. Have debates, educate each other. I think as long as the conversation's there, it's great. And that's all I can say going forward is just try your best to educate people.
Don't argue with a donkey.
Yeah.
Big thing.
Yeah.
Don't argue with a wall. If
And
anybody can
don't-
remember that phrase.
Don't stop calling it a black bin.
Yeah, that's
Don't
also.
stop. Like, in that case, I wouldn't be able to say, I'm wearing a black dress, you're wearing a black t-shirt.
Yeah.
That's going to stop then if the black bin is... Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's ridiculous. It
There you
really
go.
is.
I think that's, I mean, we could be here for fucking days, so.
Yeah, I would love to know what other people think of this. I know we got loads of opinions on it, but I would like to know what people think of what our opinions, what this conversation brought to them,
Yeah.
what it sparked in them, opinions wise. Let us know on the WhatsApp 085 725 2127 or on the Instagram, the Unpopular Opinion 2019. Next week, we're going to be talking about paranormal activity.
I'm so excited.
And ghosts and spirits. Not big believers in gods, but you can be damn fucking sure that I believe in ghosts.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Totally makes sense.
See you then.